Welcome to today's Explainer. We're breaking down a truly high-energy matchup from the group stages today. We're going to dive into exactly how Belgium completely flipped the script at Lumen Field in Seattle, locking in their spot in the round of 32. Let me tell you, this wasn't just a win, it was a massive statement. So let's just get right into it and see how a team under immense pressure turned a potentially disastrous tournament run into an absolute offensive masterclass.
Going into this crucial match, the Belgian side was carrying a massive, honestly suffocating burden. 0. That's the total number of goals scored by their own players across the first two group matches. For a squad absolutely packed with world-class attacking talent, yeah, that was the giant elephant in the room. They were sitting on 2 draws, and their literally only goal in the entire tournament up to this point had been an own goal by an opponent. You can only imagine the kind of tension they were dealing with in that locker room.
But wow, by the final whistle against New Zealand, that 0 violently flipped to a massive 5. It perfectly captures the sheer unpredictability of tournament football, doesn't it? Belgium didn't just scrape by with a win. They delivered an absolute masterclass of an explosion. It is so rare to see a team's offensive identity just completely wake up in the span of 45 minutes, but that's exactly what we witnessed in Seattle.
Section 1. Pressure on the Red Devils. Let's rewind slightly and look at the intense pressure the team was facing before kickoff.
The contrast in stakes here is just fascinating. Coach Domenico Tedesco was heavily under fire. They were stuck on 2 frustrating draws with 0 goals actually scored by a Belgian player. They were desperate for a result. On the flip side, New Zealand was sitting on just 1 point from a 2-2 draw with Iran and a 3-1 loss to Egypt. They had absolutely 0 chance to qualify for the next round. But, in football, a team with nothing to lose is incredibly dangerous. They have everything to play for, mostly pride.
Section 2. Trossard breaks the deadlock. With the stage set and the pressure mounting, let's look at how the match actually began.
So, despite Belgium's desperation, the first half started out surprisingly tight. All eyes were intensely focused on stars like Romelu Lukaku, Kevin De Bruyne, and Leandro Trossard to just make something happen. And as the clock ticked on, man, the tension was palpable. New Zealand was holding their shape really well, forcing Belgium to play around the perimeter rather than through the middle. But that crucial moment of relief finally arrived in the 28th minute. Leandro Trossard smashed the Belgian goal drought. It was a massive exhale for the entire nation. Now, it wasn't completely smooth sailing. Late in the first half, New Zealand's Sermon had this heart-stopping moment where he narrowly headed the ball wide. Still, Belgium managed to head into halftime, clinging to a narrow 1-0 lead.
I really want to emphasize what this moment meant, though. Trossard's strike wasn't just a point on the scoreboard. It was the very first goal scored by a Belgian player in the entire group stage. Remember, their only prior goal in the tournament was an own goal by Egypt's Mohamed Hani way back on June 15th. So the big takeaway here is that this was a monumental psychological breakthrough. The monkey was finally off their back, The tactical setup was working, and that massive mental block was completely shattered.
Section 3. Second half floodgates open. If the first half was entirely about breaking the tension, the second half was a completely different story. It was pure, unadulterated chaos and domination.
We witnessed a dramatic shift here. A tense, tight, 1-goal game in the first 45 minutes just morphed into an explosive offensive masterclass in the second. The high tension completely evaporated, and it was replaced by total attacking dominance. Belgium poured on 4 massive goals in the second half alone. It was honestly as if a completely different team walked out of the tunnel at Lumen Field, one that suddenly remembered exactly how to brutally punish any defensive mistake.
Let's break down exactly who fueled this massive surge. Trossard didn't just stop at 1, he secured a fantastic brace, showing incredible positional awareness in the box. And then, there's Romelu Lukaku. After a deeply frustrating start to the tournament, he finally found his scoring boots, netting 2 huge goals. This entirely validates Tedesco's faith in keeping him in the lineup. It just proves that a confident striker changes the entire geometry of the field. Add in a classic playmaker assist from the 35-year-old maestro, Kevin De Bruyne, who was out there dictating the tempo like a conductor, and the terrifying pace of Jeremy Doku coming off the bench to inject some raw energy. New Zealand's defense simply had no answers. They were stretched wide, exposed through the middle, and utterly overwhelmed by this multi-pronged attack.
By the time the dust settled, the scoreboard told a completely dominant story. New Zealand, to their absolute credit, never stopped fighting. They did manage to pull one back for a really brave consolation goal, which is a testament to their spirit for sure, but it didn't change the ultimate reality of the match, cementing the final score at a dominant 5-1 in favor of the Red Devils.
Section 4. Match analysis and stats. So what do these extreme contrasts actually tell us about both squads moving forward? Let's take a look.
First off, we saw a pretty significant milestone. Kevin De Bruyne beautifully concluded his final World Cup group stage. He is 35 now, and heading into the knockouts, Belgium is absolutely going to need him at his best. On the flip side, despite the heavy loss, New Zealand proved they are a brave, growing force in world football. Earning a point earlier against Iran and fighting till the final whistle here shows some real foundational growth. However, it wasn't all perfect for Belgium. There is a lingering concern we've got to highlight. Despite his brilliant brace, Lukaku's penalty conversion rate remains a genuine issue. In tight knockout matches, leaving goals on the table from the spot, that's a dangerous game. Keep a very close eye on whether Belgium's future matches go to a shootout, because this vulnerability could literally be the difference between advancing and going home.
Section 5. The Knockout Stage Preview. This massive win officially crowns Belgium as the Group G winners, locking in their ticket to the knockout rounds.
Wiping away the anxiety of those first two draws, Belgium is now officially advancing to the round of 32. By topping the group, they're just waiting to learn their opponent. Based on the bracket math, they're looking at potentially drawing Senegal. Though, as the data shapes up, it looks like it's setting up for a highly likely and thrilling clash against South Korea. Either way, they are entering the next round riding a massive wave of newly found momentum.
Which brings us to the ultimate question we have to ask after a performance like this. After two deeply frustrating, scoreless draws, followed by a chaotic 5-goal explosion, is Belgium peaking at the exact perfect time for a deep tournament run? Have they finally clicked? Or was this simply a fluke, an inflated result against a weaker New Zealand side that had nothing left to play for? It's the ultimate puzzle every team faces, and we're only going to find out the answer in the round of 32. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep analyzing the game, and I'll catch you next time.